Hi, everybody. It's Kristina Dennis, Transformational Self-Empowerment Master. And I am struggling today. And so I want to come in and broach a subject that I am kind of walking through right now. Those of you who live in Southern California know that, maybe you know, maybe you don't know, that there was a shooting at a Costco on Friday. And what has come out since then, first of all, I do a lot of work in Costco. And so I see a lot of the sadness, or I see a lot of the frenzy that happens. And sometimes I think, wow, why is humanity like this? But I myself get really rattled when I'm walking around, and the nervous system of handling all the carts and everything. But what happened, from what I can understand, is that there was an undercover police officer who was holding a child, and he happened to visit the booth that I usually work at, although it's a different part of Orange County, or a different part of Southern California, so not the store I would be in. But he was holding a child, and he went over to the frozen food section, and apparently he got into an altercation with a person. And for whatever reason, he had a loaded weapon with him. I'm glad most people don't come to Costco's with loaded weapons. And he shot 3 people and killed one young man who was 32. And he shot and critically injured his parents. And the first story that came out was the man had a mohawk. I'm not sure what the hairstyle had to do with anything. He was a white man. And now the story that his relatives are speaking out today, that the young man was nonverbal. And he had kind of a blank stare because he suffered with possibly autism. They say, they don't say developmental disability, they said mental issues. And I'm not sure if that wording is being chosen for on purpose, because, you know, the gentleman who murdered him was a police officer, or exactly how things are being handled. And I don't really want to get into a debate about that. So that's not what I'm doing here. It's a tragedy all the way around. I can't imagine what it would take to be holding a child and shoot off 5 or 6 rounds, killing somebody and injuring 2 other people. I don't know what that mindset is. And I can't pretend to know that I know what it is. And so I'm not here to debate that. What I want to discuss is what it brought up in me, learning that the man was nonverbal. Because I have a 14-year-old son that's going to be very large. And sometimes his dyspraxia, his jointing, he might jump up and down. He may get angry and stomp around when he can't speak. And I don't blame him for that, because I understand if you can't speak or be heard, how frustrating. I don't even know if I understand it. I can only imagine what it feels like for my son, and for people who don't have a voice. And sometimes he'll bite his own self. He rarely, I think maybe 5 times in his lifetime, has ever lashed out at somebody else. And generally it was because they were trying to block him from moving. They had cornered him. But it scares me. It scares me a lot that my son isn't safe in the world. And I was just kind of turning that over and around in my stomach. And I was listening to some spiritual teaching, and it occurred to me that what I'm feeling about my son not being safe and being misunderstood, because that was the actual language of the article that came out on this relative's Facebook, that he was misunderstood, that whatever could have happened, it was misunderstood because he was a gentle giant. That's how they refer to Billy. That this is what mothers of color have to deal with on a daily basis. And I haven't been faced with that truth until today, as I was thinking about how scary it was, and how I don't know if I should let my son out into major public places because his actions may be misunderstood. It occurred to me that most mothers of African American males or Hispanic males have to deal with that every day, and have had to from the time that that child was a little baby, understanding that it's not a really safe world for them, regardless of their behaviors and regardless of their intentions. And without a collective reckoning and recognition of what is happening and what has happened that is injustice, and not okay, we're not going to get better. And I suffer from that too. I don't understand a lot of the other races. I don't interact with a lot of the other races. Orange County tends to be a pretty white county. And man, did that convict me. So I wanted to first say I'm really sorry for the person who lost his life. And I can only imagine how fearful he was. And I hope that it was very quick for him. I hope that he didn't suffer for long. And then I pray for his parents, how already knowing that they've struggled, that all parents struggle to keep our parents safe, our children safe. And those of us who have nonverbal children, with the school shootings, I worry that Billy won't understand how to hide. It breaks my heart. But I also want to recognize that other mothers have been going through this for a lot longer than I'm going through this. And they've been dealing with this simply because of the color of their skin. And how I need to start addressing that and not staying silent. And I need to start investigating what I can do to help those mothers and to change what is happening in our world. And that staying silent is not taking a side. Staying silent is not taking a side. It's taking a side. It's the side of oppression by staying silent. That I don't have the answers, except for that love is what matters. And I want to apologize to all the mothers who deal with not knowing if their children are going to be safe simply because of the color of their skin. I want to apologize for everything that has happened and everything that you have to deal with. And I may not be the one in active oppression, but it's time for me to speak out next to you, because it's important that we moms change the world. And if you're not a mom, it's okay. If you're a woman, I think that it's important for us to speak out. It's not okay for us to be afraid that our children are going to be killed in the streets, killed in a Costco, because they're misunderstood. That's not acceptable. So I just want to send that out and be honest about what is toiling around in my brain and what I feel like I need to think about a little stronger and take some action and be part of it. Glennon Doyle talks about the Me Too movement, and she says, we're not starting this. Any white woman who thinks she's starting that is sorely mistaken. That women of color have been dealing with it for their entire life and for a lot longer. And so just want to speak out about that on the platform that I have. Hi, Dorothea Inez. And send everybody a lot of love and take a little bit of self-responsibility. All right. Love you all. Take care.